Hello, my name is Val. I usually post videos about languages, the international crisis on this channel, or sometimes I just speak about my personal experiences. I've posted a video about running shoes in Italian, but Italian are not that smart, and I decided to delete the video because it was really wasted on those jerks, in spite of I was born in Italy. Okay, I just want to show something. One shoe that was used in the 80s. Most of these shoes were kind of chubby. What I mean is that were much heavier, more padded, and the outsole was just rubber everywhere, all the way. Okay, so that surely increases durability, but they are not that flexible in either direction, What I had is this EVA, okay, to cushion the shocks. Okay, so in time they decided to just for competition also I mean for marketing reasons, but all that in this case was good. They decided to add some shock absorption systems, and the one that is the most long-lived is the Air of Nike, which basically is like a cushion, really, that has a kind of air gas inside. At the beginning was hidden, and I still have, this is a recent model. There is a inside here, inside the heel. What is good about having shock absorption system, they are more comfortable, and that is also the flaw. What do I mean by that? In nature, in our history, we didn't have shoes. So how can our body absorb shocks? First is we don't have some pads of meat, flesh that absorb shocks. If you see dogs and cats, they have something like that, mainly cats. But if you see, even when a dog and a cat, they walk, they use their toes, and we use the whole. Our toes would be our hand, and we use this. We don't use just the lower part. We use the foot. So what happens? That we use our arch of the foot to absorb the shock, and then the toes splay and also are helpful in this. So we are supposed to land not here, but here, or a little bit here, not very much on the toes, okay? Otherwise we would be running tiptoeing, and it's not comfortable. It's neither comfortable nor usual. So what happens that if you land on your heel, that means that when you run, you don't flex. You don't flex. I need to show. Sorry for the mess. You don't flex much this, but you run like this. If you run like this, the first thing that lands is your heel. And the problem that underneath we have bone. Okay, the heel bone. Astragalus, what's the name? So the shock moves from the bone, and it hurts, till the knee and the hip, and that causes problems. Having this, you have less problems, but the problem is if you have this underneath your heel, you're more likely to keep on running using your heel. So it's a kind of vicious circle. I think at the beginning they didn't have much, they didn't study much our locomotion like they've done recently. So the problem is running. If you don't run properly, you have injuries. So they started having more padded, more cushioned shoes, and we still have. So most of the cushioning is here. Some Nike have also here, but I think the only model is Air Max, which I found much too disconnected from the soil. Then I don't have much. The new concept is flexibility. Okay, in either direction, horizontally, diagonally, like this. Okay, that's very flexible. This is not the least flexible among Nike Free. This is 5, so it's the first level, or among the Nike Free. There's 3 and 2, I think. Another concept that you need to know about a shoe, and this is the first concept, is 2 main concepts are how much a shoe weighs, and usually they give the 8.5 for man as the standard weight, and the drop, the difference between how it is high, it is thick here, and how it is thick here. So the less the drop, the more natural the running is, and the less the weight, the less the weight, the more natural the shoe is. And these natural shoes are called minimal shoes. So you can understand why minimal. They have the less, the concept, the idea is the less the better, the less midsole and the less drop. Is it good? Okay, my concept is you should have as much cushioning, protection, and difference between heel and toes, the drop, as much as you need. Not more, not less. That's very difficult gauge, to calculate. But anyway, one system is maybe if you run into injuries, pardon the pun, there is a problem. So if you run into injuries and you are running with a minimal shoe, maybe you need a little, you step up the shoe, more padding and more protective, or vice versa. So we should, how can anyone run in the best way? Because the idea is it should be better if you had the least under your feet. How can you afford to have very little under your feet? Here we have different concepts. Your weight. The more you weigh, the more the shoe should be protective. The way you run, the more you run in a way that is flexible, that you land on the midfoot or here, the more you can use minimal shoes. And another thing, your gait, the way you run, should be neutral. That means that if your shoes are here where they meet, they wear off, there's friction here, you should watch, you should peruse long used shoes. Means you pronate, okay? So in this case you should use some shoes that have some kind of protection, and there are shoes that have a slight protection. This is a almost minimal, it's not minimal, it's something like almost a running shoes, but you have this kind of protection here. I mean, the midsole is thicker, and so if you're light, you're thin, and you land on the midfoot, and on top of that you strengthen your feet muscle, and your feet muscles and your calves, and there are ways to do that. Maybe I'll show you in another video, or you can look it up on the web. There are many videos about this. You can afford these kind of shoes without the last resort shoes, which are shoes very thick, very heavy, very with heavy systems against pronation. Okay? Speaking about, and this is Brooks, okay? Okay, some shoes, this is protective, another protective shoes, they have a different system. Instead of air, they have this kind of called Wave by Mizuno. It has more spring. You will have a spring in your running. They are protective. They give a whole different return of energy, and maybe they're less comfortable in a way, but you feel, I mean, they are less squishy. There is a return of energy. Okay, I don't have 100% minimal shoes, which basically is almost nothing. But I have quite minimal shoes, I think, that are kind of more minimal than the 3 that I have, which is 5.0. These are quite, this is 220 grams. Okay, you see this kind of minimal shoes, in some points there's no midsole, sorry, here. Here the drop is 4, whilst in the Nike were 8. They are very light. The difference is that here in the Nike there's no protection. Here, where are they? They're kind of floppy here, you see. And here there is kind of a like a shell, you see. So there is another system for the laces. Okay, it's kind of these are pure connect, and they are called like this. They're not extreme, because extreme is pure drift. Less extreme is a pure slow. I chose something in the middle. I found them on sale also, tell you the truth. I didn't like the color, but it's what, you know, I found. So this, keep in mind that these shoes, in spite of this carbon rubber insert, last less. Remember this. They cost even less, but they last less, so you should calculate. You can run with this 220, I think 250 kilometers. Okay, maybe more, maybe less, depends on your weight, where you run, on what surface, and if you are pronator, maybe, I don't know. Oh, so if you do some exercise to strengthen your calves and your feet muscles, you can afford this. Don't do this immediately. Take your time to break, clean the shoes to get used to this new, more tiring. It's more tiring. It's more taxing for your feet. You, at the end of a running, you really feel the upper part of your feet kind of sore. That's par for the course. If you run, you usually run with this. Then, if you run the other thing that they are supposedly to be more comfortable, you don't feel them comfortable anymore. You feel them like boots. You feel them heavy. You feel your feet are not free. Here they are free. You are in touch with the surface you run on, and you can also, I do that, use this when you run fast, and use the other thing. I have to use them because I bought them. I want to have a run for my money. Okay, so you can use this if you run fast, if you have a very good gait, you're lightweight, and you run very and you run fast, you're light, and you run the right way, you can use this the whole time. But if you run every day and you run the whole time, then they will last more than 2 months. So every month you should spend like 50, yeah, kind of, I don't know, dollars, $40 each month. Okay, I have this that I use. They can use both for running and for fitness, for the gym, and because when you do that, you have some. You can also run. They are slightly different. These also are kind of minimal. You can see. Also, these parts, there's no midsole. they're more stable behind, you know, and they're less curved. But you can run in with this, okay? But these are for cross training. If you do this and other exercise at home, workout, these are very flexible. The upper sole is like almost a sock, you see, and these are kind of light. The only thing, the midsole is Adidas trainer. The midsole is kind of very, very solid. I mean, it's hard, so there's not much of shock absorption, I think. Some people like it, like minimal shoes with almost nothing. There's another problem where you run on. If you run on macadam, or you run on streets, and not you need some shock absorption. If you run on dirty roads, on soil, earth, you can have less of an absorption. So and also another variable is how long you run. That's another thing. You have to take everything into account and decide what kind of shoe is right for you. Another thing that I don't have, some shoes are running surface specific. Mainly, most of shoes are for concrete, like paved roads. Some shoes, they have more grip and they are for cross country. I mean, they are for trail, and there are extreme trail really with a lot of grip and a lot of midsole, and there are other that are lightweight and for not extreme. I mean, not a lot of mud and rocks. Okay, so if you run in a park and you don't run on a paved path, you can buy these shoes, cross training. And also if you buy them, maybe you can choose among pronator, not pronator, lightweight, not lightweight, whatever. What else can I say? If you I did that, if you find a place that there's no problem with sharp objects or syringes or whatever, and there is just grass, you can run barefoot. It's a very beautiful experience. If you be running in minimal shoes, you can start this. When I did that, I could run personally up to 15 minutes with nothing underneath my feet. But if you're not used to minimal shoes, you don't have the right surface, don't do that. So also the idea is to find exactly, not more, not less, of what you really need. And there is a lot of choice on the market. You can also order on the web. Remember that the last model is always more expensive, and every year usually they change the model. If you are not in the money, you're not rich, buy always the previous model, or buy them where they are on sale. If you want to have the right color, the color you want, you have to pay for that, because sometimes you find on sale some colors that don't sell much. Okay. Difference with the shoes for men or women. Usually I found that shoes for women, the same number, even if a man wears them, they are shorter. I found these were for women, they were on sale. I use them, I have no problem, but they are very not structured, so there's not much of a difference. I ordered two. I mean, I have, yeah, one more. I usually wear 42 and a half, which is 8 and a half, and if UK 9, okay, 10, two more, 8 and a half. I bought 10 and a half. I don't know if you can measure the length your foot and actually know how long the foot is, but normally there are some slight differences, not only the color, more feminine, but there is a difference in the way women run. So in the past there were no difference, but I think in the last 20 years they invented the shoes for women. But for example, strangely, this model, there's no woman model. Another thing that I use, but that's me, and you need to have a quite not so tight shoes. I put this to have less heel to drop. You know, there is another layer here, you can see. I cut another insole to have, because I land more on the midfoot, so there is less. This model has a lot of a heel to drop, and with this insoles I find I'm much more comfortable. You know, it's not like this, it's more like this. Guys, it was a long video. Oh, thanks for watching. And if you want, I will speak about specific exercises to strengthen your foot muscles. There are other people who speak like that, but if you want, I can add another video. Goodbye.